We're here again. You believe that? We're sitting again. He's deep in thought, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't even care that you're out there. He's deep in thought. Don Lawrence, you know what I mean? Super deep in thought. Go ahead.
Finish your phone.
Finish playing with whatever you're doing. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Thanks for the okay. Yes.
The permission? The permission?
I'm not getting it. It's not here.
Oh, no? He probably is. If you give it a shot.
Pop up. See if yours popped up.
I'm not worried about it.
All right, everybody.
There we go.
It's
Look at this.
Wednesday.
Holy smokes. All kinds of people saying hello, Don. And you're over there dicking around with that phone. Unbelievable.
What?
Listen, no swear jar. Dicking that's a good word. That's not a 4-letter word.
What's up, Shelly?
6-letter word.
What's up,
6-letter.
Rich? Rich Roberts.
Rich Robert. That
Shelly
man, I tell you
Gambino.
what, if you ever need to feel secure, Rich Roberts is your guy.
He's the tech
Security
guy. Yeah,
expert.
security tech.
Listen,
Yeah.
he can make your house so safe that you wouldn't even go into
I
it.
need a
I'd be
doorbell.
spooked out.
You need a doorbell?
I need a
Rich Roberts, that's the guy to go to. I'm telling you right now. Steve Kreitz.
Steve Kreitz. What's up, Steve?
All right, so you ready to do this the right way?
Let's get it going, bro.
I'm Scott.
I'm Don.
And we're talking real estate. Listen, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, Scott and Ted. See? Linda's already on your case. Scott and Ted already. See?
Oh, Debbie.
So I'll tell you this, guys. It's going to be a very interesting show. We have some good stuff for you. One segment's going to be a little longer.
We're going to go, but we're going deep in this one. This is, I like this subject here. So
and it's huge because it's something that people talk about a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. So we'll get to that point at some point. But before that, we want to know where you're checking in at. Where are you coming from? From Canton, Michigan, Dogbone Heights, St. Clair Shores. Where are you coming from? Riverview, Dollar Don. See?
Don.
$1 million Don he wants to talk about. So where are you checking in from, ladies and gentlemen? Tell us in the chat if you would, please. We would love to know where you're tuning in from.
We're tuning in from Dearborn, Michigan.
So does a house increase or decrease with or without a pool above or in ground? Rich, I tell you what, it's in an appraiser's eyes. I don't know. It depends on the appraiser. It really does. Okay. Because I tell you what, I was telling Don earlier today and Mel, I landed one today as far as for the buyer that had a gorgeous in-ground pool. It's like a resort. But sometimes appraisers aren't going to give them that much.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know if it gives a lot of value, especially above ground pool, because it can always be removed.
Yeah,
in ground pool,
yeah.
I think it's permanent, or I should say, it's for the most part, it's permanent.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be there for a long time. So I went out. Speaking of in ground pool, I went out on a listing yesterday out in Grosse Pointe Park, and the guy was telling me that there used to be a built-in kidney-shaped pool there, but it's not there anymore. And I asked, well, he said they filled it in, and I didn't know what that meant. So I had to ask him, did they take the sides and everything out? He goes, yeah, I think so. I think they went all the way down to the bottom and left the bottom in. So, but it's one of those things that that can be removed to a certain extent. But
so, Rich, answer your question a different way. Sellers or buyers love it. They absolutely love it. Those people that I show the house to, when accepted, it's like a resort to them. They're going to sit up. Huh?
Some buyers,
asking for it?
yeah.
What, the
Are
pool?
they asking for a pool when they're looking for a house?
No. I did this. The pool is like their big bonus one. Yeah.
Bonus, yeah.
And I'll bring video next week. It's bad to the bone. I mean, like you walk out and it's got a pool and it's got a big pond behind it.
Yeah,
it's like a resort.
Where
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah, like I'll sign right here. Thank you very much. So, Rich, hopefully that answers your question, my friend. And is there any certain requirements of the pool example? Yeah, there is. It's how many feet is it?
5 feet.
Something like that. Yeah, fence around it. You have to some fence around it. Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct, Rich. You do have to, for safety reasons. You even have to, I think Woodhaven and some other cities, they got a client, Wilkowitzes are probably on this call here, on this show now, that you had to have an alarm for your back door. So if your kids went out there, no one would drown. They made them put
I never heard that before.
Yeah, they made them put a Woodhaven.
That makes a
But
lot of
even
sense.
from the pool to the fence, the actual fence has to have so much clearance.
Yeah, so there's
Yeah.
a bunch of rules, Rich. A bunch of
You
rules.
have to
So
talk to your city.
the biggest thing is when you get the pool, invite me over because I'll come swimming. Okay, that's what I want to tell you. That's just so you know. Yeah, wires too. That's a big. Those are all. And I tell you what, now why don't we come in next couple weeks when we talk pools?
We'll talk pools. I'd like that idea.
'Cause that's a good.
Yeah,
That's a lot. You guys got a lot of
yeah,
questions.
That
That's
will
good.
go along with
What?
Backyard Oasis.
Backyard Oasis, baby. That's next week. Next week, Backyard Oasis. We don't.
Or the weekend.
And so Steve said hi to you, Mel. Just so you know.
I said hi.
Okay, so I make sure. So,
Hi, Mel.
hi Mel. You say hi Mel to somebody else. Wow. So Don, let's do this. Let's go.
By the way, I'm going to go back over that, Rich. That's a very good question.
Yeah.
Thanks for that question, Rich. That's a very good question.
And we'll make sure Bass Phillips is happy that you're on now. So just so you know.
Where's that at?
It's right there. Hi guys, Bass Phillips. Just so, you know. So let's do this, Don. Let's crank into our topic first. We'll go there and then we'll talk some other stuff.
Okay.
So tell us what the topic is.
Topic is, are you thinking about downsizing?
So here's the thing, Don. You know how many people come to me and say they're downsizing and don't? A lot.
And why do you think that is?
I don't know. I feel like what happens sometimes. I can tell you at least 2 or 3 cases that pool, those folks, they were thinking about downsizing, right? Because there's, and we'll get to factors and things like that about it too. But you think about it, you're like, oh, I'm going to downsize, and then you run into the perfect house, and you go, forget that. That's what happens. It's guys.
What do you mean? They find the perfect house.
They find a house that they weren't expecting. All of a sudden, they love it. And they're like, oh, it's like I'll give it. So one in Monroe, they went from, like a $250,000 house to a $400,000 house. Yeah. Right. So these folks, they're about the same size, but they were talking about getting smaller, and it sounds like a really good idea. Bigger. Yep. It sounds like a really good idea, but
the Wolfwoods?
Yeah. Yeah. But here's the thing, and I say this a lot to people: buying a home is a feeling, right? You walk in the house and you go, "Yep, that's it. That's what happens." Yeah. You can tell me all the dimensions you want, but the feeling is the feeling.
Right. And I think sometimes people, they don't realize that's something that they really had a dream maybe of owning in the past, and it just fulfilled them at that point. They saw that, and this is something I've always wanted to have, this type of a home.
See, there they are right there. Yes, we've all said the downsides and we found our forever home.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's let's ask this question, folks. In the comments, in the chat, if you're thinking about downsizing, or if you have thought about downsizing ever, put it in the chat. If you thought about downsizing, anybody. Well, I just want to get a feel for this.
So I think that the going over this, are you thinking about downsizing? I think this will answer a bunch of questions that people have. And sometimes they don't even know they have that question until maybe they're in the process of looking at homes, or started packing up some stuff to see what they may want to keep. So I think there's some really good questions in here to ask yourself, to think about, to wonder if these are the things that you want to do, and if this makes sense for you to make that move to do it.
Right. So folks, if you're downsizing, this is definitely the time to pay attention and kind of think this thought process through, because we're going to throw a lot of stuff out at you. So why don't you start us off?
Okay. So number one, first of all, most important, does it make financial sense? If you have a mortgage now, or you don't have a mortgage now, and you get a smaller house, sometimes you think you may be downsizing, and in sales price, value downsizing, not necessarily all the case. So you may have had that house paid off for 10, 15 years or whatever. You may be getting a mortgage currently with the way the market is, with prices going up. You may end up getting a mortgage. Are you ready for that? Taxes are going to be higher because you're homesteaded now. You're buying a house that's going to become uncapped. So property taxes are going to go up more than likely. Yeah. And another thing is the next house may not have everything that you already have in your own house. So you may have to do an upgrade here or there, or do some fixes here or there. Are you ready and prepared to do those sort of things? If you're not, downsizing may not be the right thing for you.
Well, and I would say here, the biggest of those things that you touched on, right? The biggest thing that you touched on there, I would say is the going from no house payment to house payment, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I tell you what, that right there says we knew people who downsized too much too fast. They went from 2,300 square feet to 11, and now feeling very cramped. Advise us not to do that. Absolutely. I hear that all the time, that horror story all the time. We thought we were ready for it, and we weren't.
Yeah. And we have something coming up about that specific thing right there, and the stuff that you have, and being cramped in a floor plan and stuff.
So and again, biggest thing is if you're going from a house paid off to mortgage, that's you got to be aware is really that what you want to do. 2,
that's probably the biggest one right there.
Well, and the 2 part is though is you have the back end of your mortgage where you're paying mostly principal. Now you're starting over from scratch.
Right.
Right. So downsize, same square foot, space bigger, rooms less, bedrooms, etc. Yeah. Absolutely.
Cut down on a room.
Yeah.
Okay. So now number 2, Scott. What do you?
So here's the other part. Talking condo or house. I have family members that are looking for condos for less maintenance. Okay, but it's a balance, Don. It's like people that want to go to condo. They're like, I want less maintenance. I want people to take care of my stuff. But again, you're paying association fees, right? And some of them, man, I tell you what, some association fees are high as hell.
Yeah.
I mean,
The
like,
minimum
just
that
beating you up.
the minimum I've seen on small condos, lower price ones, are $200 a month, and it could go from $300 to $400 to $500 easily. So yeah, that's a huge, and that's every month, and it does not go down. It's not like property taxes and insurance. That's something that you don't get a whole lot of benefit except grass cut and.
Did they increase that too?
And so I think about this though too. So again, going condo to house, here's a trade you're making. You're making the convenience, right? Condo, right, folks? You're making that convenience, right? You're getting that convenience of getting your grass cut, snow and everything like that. But you're giving away privacy because it's tighter, right? People are closer, right? Sharing, being closer to you, right? And typically smaller spaces inside the house too. Typically. So that's, and again, you got to think that through. Some people it might work for, might be fit. Condo, some people take care of my stuff for me. That's more important to me than privacy or space. Right.
They're traveling a lot. Or they...
Right. So people that don't go home hardly ever.
Yeah. Okay, so the third one is, I like this one. This one really registers with, well, not registers with me, but really makes a lot of sense to me. What am I excited to leave? This is probably the biggest thing for people, I think, from my experience of clients that are downsizing, is what are the day-to-day things you do in the house that you're not excited about doing any longer?
Like, give me an example.
Cleaning a bedroom or bathrooms that you don't use anymore.
Okay.
Rather than cleaning or maintaining the house, are you ready to just sit and relax, garden, not clean a big place? Yeah.
Well, that's a big thing too, is that folks are never going to be like, oh, I'm so excited about cleaning this big house. Yes. Nobody does that.
Right.
So if you're trading convenience for possibility, right? So possibility of, well, I might need this, second bathroom for whatever ever. You're getting rid of that, right? You're making that choice. And you're going to back to 1 or 2 or 1.5 or whatever, going, it's a smaller clean.
Right.
So again, downsizing, a lot of it has to do with, I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to keep doing all this, daily upkeep stuff.
Right. And I think a lot of people get to that point and they realize they go through these things that I don't have to do any longer. And they're ready they make that decision. I'm ready to do it. I don't want it anymore.
So I would say probably that's your first motivation for people, don't you think?
That you were excited. What is it that you're excited?
Getting rid of certain tasks.
Yeah.
So folks, what task, if you could get rid of them in your house, and not saying you're downsized, I'm just saying if you get rid of certain tasks in your house, what would you want to get rid of? If you were going to end up doing a downsize, what would you want to get rid of? Your task. Or that in the chat for us.
Or at any time. What are the tasks that you don't like doing?
Yeah. I don't like making the bed. Can you help me out with that? Smaller house, if I downsize, can it make the bed for me?
You got to find somebody to help you in that situation. I'll tell you one thing that is cutting grass.
Yeah.
Cutting grass. I mean, there's certain times I don't mind doing it at the beginning of the year because it's kind of meditative in a certain sense because it looks nice when it's done. But when July and August come, I don't want to cut that thing anymore. I'm done.
Now, since you're a downriver guy, Turf Concepts of Grosse Hill would come out and cut your grass. Ryan Robinson, guarantee. He's a downriver guy. He does only downriver. He would never come to Dearborn. But that's the guy I would go with. Downriver Turf Concept. Yeah, it's a Turf Concept. So when you get tired of that, okay, I tell you when I first started using lawn service, my mom calls me out. Chris Bergeron, you all know her. Okay. She calls me up and says, hey, can you come over and start the lawnmower for me? If she can't start the lawnmower, she sure as hell's not pushing the lawnmower anymore. It's not happening.
Well, you get electric start and you're
no.
Push.
That's when we first started getting the lawn service. So they had the lawn service taken care of her.
She deserved it.
You're darn right she does. So again, what things would you give up, guys, if you were downsizing? What tasks, daily cleaning, things like that would you give up?
So we can see.
I think that's the top of it, isn't it?
You gotta go over. Okay.
So what do you got next? What else you got?
Okay, so
we're talking downsizing.
That's the one on what am I excited to leave?
Yeah.
So you're up next with the next one.
This one is the one where people, I want to say, make mistakes. I feel like this is one that makes the most mistakes right here. Okay, remodel. There you go. So this is the one where that makes the most mistakes. What am I gonna do with my stuff? I never knew until I got into this business how many people have storage outside their house.
Storage units?
I run into people, my storage this. I get a guy that just sold his kitten house. He has a storage up north, storage down here. I mean, they have storage everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm in the wrong racket. We should be a storage company. That's what we
I was
should
talking
be.
to somebody about that today. As a matter of fact.
Were you really?
Yeah.
So what are you going to do with your
investing in
stuff?
that, so.
It's a smaller house. Yeah, exterior maintenance is worth moving to the county. I agree, Auntie Chris. I agree with you on that. Like, where's my stuff going to go? What do I got to get rid of? Because that's the hardest thing. What do I got to get rid of?
Yeah.
If that stuff has been with you for a long period of time, it doesn't matter if it's not worth anything or it's going to stay with you.
Here's a different way to look at that. It's not thinking about the part that you're going to get. What is it that I want to keep that I really have to keep instead of what I want to get rid of?
Yeah.
Because if you break it down to what you really want to keep, if it's a 5-star thing or a 4-star, however you want to rate that. What?
Sentimental.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the driving force in the human mind is fear of loss. If I lose this picture of Johnny when he was 5 years old, I can never have it again. Then that's
part of what is it that I can't get rid of that I want to keep. What do I want to keep? It's things like that they want to keep.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I'll give you an example of counseling when realtors become counselors. I have a client who she has a lot of photo albums, okay? And again, she has a lot of photo albums. That's a very normal memento to keep, right? Mm-hmm. That was one of the hardest things for her. Is like, what am I going to do with all my photo albums? You can scan them, right? You have them scanned or do them digitally or something. Yeah. Right. But again, we don't make those connections. We really don't. We just, I'm going to not be able to have my this, or I'm not going to be able to have my that. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, if you're trading off work, you get rid of stuff too. Mm-hmm. So what else you got?
Well, staying on that vein right there, are you ready to give up a home gym if you have a home gym, an office, a guest room? Guest room's a big thing when you have a bigger home. When you have a smaller home, you don't necessarily have that guest room for out-of-town guest or family.
There's the word purge right there, right? So it was a very bad movie, and it also it's not a great topic for people when you ask them to purge stuff. Like, there are certain members of my family that will not purge a thing. Like, nothing's going. Doesn't matter if it was somebody's first dollar or if it was like a folder from when I was in the 8th grade or something like that. It stays with. It stays with. It does not go.
So that person, those people are not moving. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying
that taking it all with them.
Again, again, the hardest part for people is fear of loss. Losing something is a hard thing.
Yeah.
So it's like we talked about. Does it make financial sense? Let's kind of recap a little bit. Condo or house, condo's less maintenance, right? But well, you're getting rid of activities, but you're getting rid of stuff too. You know what I mean?
Steve Craig, wrestling drums. There you go. So if you do keep a lot of stuff, remember what the storage costs are going to be. What are those? That's going to be that's going to be an expense there.
Yeah, especially if you're like somebody was saying with that, splitting in half, going from 23 to 11. I mean, all of a sudden you're talking about a whole different life. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? A whole different life. So what else?
So where do you want to live? I mean, this could vary anywhere. All these can be interchangeable. What's most important, each person is different. But where do you want to live? Do you want to move to a new city? Do you want to move to a new state? Do you want to be near family? Do you want to be near friends? Do you want to be near the water? I mean, you have to make these decisions on where you want to move to.
So I'll tell you, Don, an interesting one that I feel like I ran into recently. I've run into a lot recently, and I've run into a lot throughout my career is when people downsize or when they're making that last move of their life, their life, one of the last moves of their lifetime, they move toward family. I had a cousin who moved next to her sister, bought a condo out in Rochester Hills. I got a client that moved to Riverview to be near family. Mm-hmm. People make those moves based on being closer to family, and it's a normal decision, right? And it's a heartfelt decision, but sometimes it backfires on you. Sometimes it works out that.
So how? Like how?
Well, because if you're moving back toward family, right? You're assuming that they're going to have tons of time for you to spend with each other. You're making that assumption. Mm-hmm. You don't know. Because, families, what they do now is they don't go, they branch out and branch out and branch out, right? So now your brother, sister, whoever, they got their own kids. They got their own grandkids and stuff like that. So it gets a little weird.
Sure. For sure.
But definitely, I don't know if I've had anybody say, I'm going to live in a whole brand new city because I want the adventure. I don't know if I've ever had somebody say that to me. You? Go to a whole city that never been before, never lived in before, or never lived near or anything like that?
I don't think it's like within our region. If you're thinking,
you're talking about picking up moving?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think going to New York City, going to Chicago, going to Miami Beach, going to LA.
I ever
going
tell
to
you about
these
me?
big cities.
I wanted to move to California when I was young.
Yeah.
I had a cousin who we both were about the same age, or 19, and she was like, "You should come live here with me. We'll get an apartment." My cousin Chrissy, she wanted me to come move to California. All my aunts, my dad's. What?
Scott, that's your thumb.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't know what be specific. And Chris, I don't know what you're asking me, but no, it's something that
Did you think about doing it?
yeah, I did, but I was 19 years old and an idiot.
Yeah.
And California's expensive.
Yeah.
So I never would have lived. I never would have made it there.
Yeah.
I would have been a hippie on the beach going, "Hey man, what's going on?" I'd been a beatnik on the beach or something like that.
Hang
The end
time.
is near.
Hank, yeah.
Hang
I'd be that guy going, "The end is near," with my sign wrapped around myself. That's what it was. That's exactly
He'd
right.
have dreads.
Yeah.
Would you still have the dreads?
What's that?
Dreads? You'd have the dreads?
Dreadlocks.
No dreadlocks. I think let me correct that. That would move to be an event. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Like I said, I have not seen somebody move to a totally new area. I don't see that much. Let me put it that way. Hopefully that answers what we're talking about. I don't see people make a dramatic move that much. I don't get to that. I don't see relocation that much. How about that?
So I've had people in the past where they've moved away, people that retired and they
Yeah,
moved
that's
away and to either, like, let's say Kentucky. I had some people that moved to Kentucky or
Yeah.
Tennessee
Yeah.
and stayed there for about a year or something, did not care for it, moved back here, went to Florida, kid had a baby, moved back. So people do make those moves. They do make
Yeah,
those
they do. No.
long
Don't get me wrong. I'm
moves.
just saying I haven't had
Yeah.
that many clients that did that. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying. I'm
Yeah.
not saying
Oh,
right
yeah,
or wrong.
I think
I'm not saying it's right or wrong. No.
I think most people, that's a really well thought out thing. Sometimes it's not so much.
I mean, I had a client, I guess, that came from Cadillac down here to Livonia. That's maybe one. Okay. Yeah. So again, talking about downsizing, right? So what else you got?
Well, on that, to finish that one up, you could, if you do, instead of buying there, you could rent, and then if it works out, then you can buy. If not, you're not out anything. So
I take that back. So that just made me think of something. I have a client who lived in Review. Their kids moved out to like the Commerce Wall Lake area, right? So they sold, right? I mean, within the last year, where the hot market's hot, they're renting out that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And out in Commerce and seeing if they like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Right.
I take that back. I do have a couple that moved, made dramatic moves. I take that back.
Right. Okay.
So
then if you do make that decision, what's next? What are the financial implications of selling your home?
what do you mean?
What is it going to cost to sell your home as a seller?
Oh yeah. But I mean, so in this market, does it really matter?
Well, it's still going to be there's going to be costs there that have to be
Yeah,
paid.
but I mean, the market's so great right now.
It absolutely is. But
I mean, that's
sellers
like a
need-
no-brainer
sellers need-
right now.
They need to know these things, though.
Yeah,
before they make a
agree.
decision. So if you want to dwell on that, or,
Okay. I mean, like, again, you got to think about things like, is there going to be any tax liabilities involved? Right. If you're going to profit over 250 or profit over 500 for a couple, right? Is there going to be that in the mix?
if
Right?
it's profit, but if it's your homestead, then no.
Right. So I mean, there's all kinds of different things like that. Stuff like transfer taxes and everything else. I mean, there's cost to it. There's definitely cost to it. But like I said, in the market that we're in, I mean, that's kind of like still a no-brainer right now. You know.
It is absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what else? What's up? Give us one last.
So the last one, in going back to the 2,300 versus 1,100 square feet, is the floor plan practical for you, and that includes what are the stuff that you're bringing with you. Will it fit in the house? Will you be able to live in that house? Is the space optimized for your lifestyle and how you want to live?
Or do you have to make changes to your lifestyle?
Or do you have to make changes?
Yeah. So I tell you, I think, Don, what? Really, Rich? Please. You wish you had first round money. Please. I'm doing this show with Don every week. That's my big payoff. So North Dakota, that's a pretty good hike. So do you see, Don, let me ask you this question because I have an answer of my own, but as folks get further on in life, they go to ranch, yes?
Absolutely.
In your estimation? Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
Yep. I had clients talking about that today going, this is going to be our forever home. We want a ranch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We want a ranch. Throw that up in the chat. I'll tease them a little bit. So, but my point being is finding a ranch is tough.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough find.
Mhm.
A lot more colonials, a lot more 2-story colonials than you
Absolutely.
find in ranch, right?
It costs less to go up than it does to go
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, because your property's more narrow,
Yeah,
right?
that as
I mean,
well.
this
Yeah.
is you bump it out this way, property's more narrow.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
so when we're talking about lifestyle and stuff, as you get to a certain age, if you're downsizing, if you don't have that ranch, you're going up and down the stairs all the time. Jeez. So I'll throw my final word. You throw your final word.
But if you go back in, if you go up and down the stairs, if you don't use that your ability to do that, you could lose it.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's okay to still walk up and down steps as long as you don't have pain and some debilitating things. It's probably.
I'm going to close with this on this topic, okay? And folks, I'm speaking directly to you out there. Everybody's situation is different, yeah? But I see a lot of folks talk downsizing, a lot of folks, not everybody, a lot of folks. And in my experience, it isn't that dramatic. I typically don't see dramatic downsizers. I have a couple of folks, and somebody that's watching this program right now that's going to downsize quite a bit, right? But I don't see that often. I see a lot more. We're talking about getting this far in downsizing, then all of a sudden we reconsider and got to go back to a middle ground or something. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like going in reverse. You're going first home, second home, final home, going backwards, going second home, and then working your way down.
But not real small. Just maybe a little bit smaller.
Yep. So guys, let's do this. Let's take a look at what realtors see. The screen third one from the left. Yep, you got it. So let's go to what realtors see. So a couple things we saw this week. I saw this in New Boston. Make that big there. And I saw this one in New Boston. Now it was a brick doghouse.
I know, it's pretty incredible.
A brick doghouse.
I love it.
I was like, a brick doghouse. Are you kidding? And it was like
that's a lot of love.
Man. And it was like a brick, like that's expensive, man. Yeah. And it was all tucked in behind a bunch, like you're looking, it's all disheveled, like the trees and branches are everywhere. So I was like, at one point they really loved the dog.
Yeah.
But eventually they didn't love the dog. So, but I can't even imagine what it costs for a brick doghouse.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty sharp. I saw that in Huron Township. I saw that.
I mean, it's pretty cool.
Go to the bottom right.
You have to have property to have something like that for the most part, I guess.
So that one. So that was an interesting one. Oh, pick that up. Oh yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Yep. So a couple other ones that we saw. Let's see. I got a couple of more interesting ones.
Yeah, that one right there.
So this is interesting. Okay, I saw this. I love this look. She's a brick house. That's my dad's favorite song. She's a brick house. That's one lucky dog. Yes, it is. I saw this that's in the house on another one here on Township. That's the one with the big pool right there.
Explain what that is.
So it's a bunch of trunk-looking drawers.
Yeah. Oh, you really?
Like it's not really. It's not a trunk, no, but it looks like it, and you pull it out and it's drawers.
Yeah. Oh,
that's cool.
That is one of the coolest things. I've never seen anything like that before.
Anybody, guys, have you ever seen one of those before? Ever put it in the chat?
Yeah,
that's something like that. Be
have
curious.
Have you ever seen it, Mel?
In that or trunks like that? Yeah.
That's Harry Potter?
It's similar to Harry Potter.
I just think it's cool.
Oh.
I think it looks cool. You know what I mean?
Didn't know that.
Well, like the sides open up. It's almost like a.
But that's deceiving. When you walk up to it, you pull it forward, and it's just drawers. Regular
That's
drawers.
pretty cool. That's cool.
The last one, Don, we both put this out today.
Yeah.
You got to tell me. You got to tell me about this one,
this
folks.
One,
if you love this, put in the chat how you feel about this thing.
Yeah, I like this one.
Take a look at this. So, at first, look at that bathroom. Look at that. Look at that shower.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for me, you know what it feels like to me? I don't want to say a prison shower because prison showers have bad mojo, but it almost, if you shut that, you're like behind bars.
So the way I look at it is, this house that I went in Grosse Pointe had the old.
Kathy Cordy loves it, buddy. That's all that matters. How about that? Had a girl, Kath.
The old windows like that, the old pane windows where the crank outs type of windows. It reminds me of those type of windows. So I see it differently, but I think it's a really sharp. I like how clear it is. And it's got a little.
Now, you know what Mel was saying, don't you?
Depth to it.
What do you not like about it?
I don't like subway tile.
So you don't like subway tile, really? I love subway tile, man. I think subway tile looks cool, but I'm just trying to figure. Don't drop the soap. Exactly, Steve. Exactly. How many showers are heads in that thing? Hey, definitely won't walk into the shower.
Maybe two, one on each side.
One on each side, but so what in the middle? Is that lights?
I think so.
I mean, it amazes me again. Yeah, see, the Babs likes you better get it for her. See, Babs, listen, if you want to get that in the place out in Irish Hills, Don with all his big money is going to make that happen for you. Okay, Don will make that happen for you. See, there you
You
go.
definitely won't walk into the shower.
No, you won't.
I
You
thought
definitely
that was a really
That's
good
great.
comment
That's pretty
there.
funny. It's
When it's clear, it's got some depth to it. I like that.
and I tell you guys this all the time. What Realtor See is my favorite bit, my favorite segment.
Yeah.
Because Don, every time I go into a house, I'm taking pictures of stuff. There's stuff we're gonna put on next week from this week because I have more stuff.
Yeah. No,
It's
you always
people-
think like that. When I'm out there showing house, I don't always think that way. I'm like,
people are so interesting,
yeah.
man.
There's some cool
They're
things out
so interesting. There's so much cool stuff out there,
there.
you know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Mel, anything else for the good of the order?
No.
All right. Well, let's talk one little thing. We promise you we give you one little thing. Okay. One little thing that you need to think about. Make sure you get your final water bill done when you sell your house. I had somebody reach out to me yesterday. They said that it's like a community well, right? And she said that they overcharged her $40. And then when she called them, she said, well, it's supposed to be worked out at closing. So it's you got to make sure the final water bill is always taken care of.
Mhm.
Goofy like that?
No, not a while.
No.
Something it wasn't.
Community. So that's your little tip for the day. If you're going to sell your house, make sure the water bill, final water read is done and make sure it gets paid. That's your little tip for the day. Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
I'm Scott,
I'm Don.
I'm Mel.
and we're talking real